We will begin in a moment. I'm going to give folks a minute to enter the webinar. Hello, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to give participants a couple more minutes. We will get started in about 2 minutes. Welcome to the webinar. We'll be starting in 1 minute. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Albany State College Night. Thank you so much for taking time to join us this evening. I have a wonderful set of panelists who will be speaking to you about Albany State and telling you more about what you have to look forward to. My name is Anona Walker and I work at Achieve Atlanta, and I'm excited to be with you as well. For those who may be new to Zoom, I want to walk through a couple key features. The first is the Q&A box. Here we want you to write any questions that you have as the presenters are speaking tonight. And at the end, there will be a time for me to read out your questions and have those answered by our panelists. The second feature that I want to point out to you is the chat box. This is where you can respond when there are questions asked. So right now, to test it out, I'd love for you to enter in the name of the high schools that you attended so we can see those. Go ahead and test that chat function out right now, please. And then last but not least, you have the opportunity to make this webinar full screen or to minimize it, make it a little bit smaller. Thank you. I see you all are writing in the chat. We appreciate it. So you can adjust the screen size to fit whatever works best for you. All right, I'd love to start by introducing our first guest this evening, Christopher Bailey.
Hey, good evening. How are y'all doing? My name is Christopher Bailey. I am the Achieve Atlanta coordinator, as well as the dual enrollment coordinator for Albany State University.
And then hello, everyone. My name is Corey Morgan, and I serve as the Associate Director for Recruitment at Albany State University. And we are eager to speak with you all this evening and happy that you all have joined on.
Okay, so a quick word about the agenda tonight. We will be discussing the profile of Albany State University, as well as what to expect next, as far as post-secondary requirements, as well as a timeline of key dates to remember for when you are looking to begin with Albany State. Also, we will discuss campus supports and resources such as financial aid, advisement, academic supports, as well as transitioning, which includes housing and residential life. Finally, we will close out with our Achieve Atlanta Success Saying, ATL, and as well as a questions and answer section at the end. We may go to the next slide. Now, COVID-19 has disrupted life as we know it, and it has been an obstacle for completing your senior year of high school, participation in graduation ceremonies, and fulfilling college application requirements. To combat this unprecedented occurrence, ASU has extended the deadline of FAFSA to June the 1st, converted all summer instruction to online, and made provisions for students unable to sit for admissions tests by waiving these requirements. Not only this, but our partnership with Achieve Atlanta has allowed us to provide additional resources such as emergency funds for current students affected by the crisis, as well as food drives. The following quote speaks volumes to these efforts to make sure this crisis does not adversely affect current or incoming students to the Albany State University. When everything is uncertain, everything that is important becomes clear. With this being said, we offer you the Golden Realm Guarantee. The key points to this include virtual lectures through Zoom and WebEx, virtual office hours daily for all faculty members, Realm Central promise to call back 30 minutes after you leave a voicemail, virtual studying and tutoring services, as well as virtual career services, resume critiques, and marketing reviews, and more. Now I will turn the floor over to Mr. Morgan to provide the profile for the unsinkable, indestructible ship that is the Albany State University. Welcome to the Ramley.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for that wonderful introduction. And Achieve Atlanta students, again, just welcome to the university. And I'm excited again just to speak to a few facts about the institution and some offerings that we do have to offer you. And so if you look at the picture right now that's on the screen, this is our newest building on campus. It was a $21 million project. It's our new fine arts building. And so we do care strongly about our students, and we want to make sure that our students have the best when it comes to education. And then also the tools that they need to be a force in their career. And so in this building in itself, and just like all of our other buildings and classrooms on campus, students have access to up-to-date resources and up-to-date tools. This building showcases a room for our students in the arts that has over 20 MacBooks and Apple products just for them to use when it comes to mass communication, graphic design, digital media. And there are several spaces for the arts as well too, as far as some instruction spaces. Other facts about the institution, we currently sit at above 6,000 students. We have over 60 programs, majors and minors, and also associate degree pathways and even master's degree programs that our students can engage in. And some of those include dental hygiene, nursing is one of our strong degrees, radiology, and then we go over to the education, marketing, mass communication, STEM. If I know STEM is very hot right now, whether that be computer science, the biological sciences, or biotechnology, and then also education, psychology, social work is also a great program that we have as well too. We do have 3 satellite campuses. We have our Albany campus. Both our East and West are located in Albany. We have a Cordell campus and a Cairo campus, and also a Waycross campus. And then we have a student to faculty ratio of 17:1. I mean, so what that means is you all will be in a smaller size classroom setting. It won't be anything alarming if you were to go to an institution like University of Georgia or Georgia Tech, where you're in a class with about 500 students. You're looking at max about 25 to 30 students. But then that number decreases as you matriculate and get more in tune with your major courses. I know for myself, I'm actually in the master's program here, and I'm in a class with 5 students in some of my classes. And so that helps me develop strong relationships with my professors, and just encourages me to participate strongly in class, and relieves any sense of fear of speaking up in class or nervousness or anything of that nature. One thing that I think that makes Albany State a unique fit, especially for our Atlanta student, is just like the city of Atlanta and the metro Atlanta area. It is known as a melting pot for the state of Georgia. And I like to say that's the same for our campus. We have students from our border states, which are Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Alabama. We have students from across Georgia in itself, and that dynamic can be very different. And so students in the Atlanta area are used to that. And so they are able to engage with a diverse set of students once they do reach and grace the campus of Albany State University as well. So those are some quick facts and just some more information about ASU that I definitely wanted to share with you all. Next slide.
And if you had an opportunity to join us for Scholars Night, you probably heard of the Achieve Atlanta commitment, but allow me to discuss this further as there are prizes involved. We invite you all to be creative in your completion of these commitments and keep an eye open for Achieve Atlanta Instagram contest to win prizes for students who complete the commitment creatively. To touch on these items briefly mentioned during Scholar Night, full-time enrollment is 12 credit hours. And as a scholar, it's important you meet with your academic success coach, which is currently myself, each semester to make sure you meet this standard. Of course, the next point of the commitment would be to meet with your assigned advisor for Albany State, as well as your mentor or coach from Beyond 12 regularly. This support team will assist you with providing you with updates such as reminders to complete your annual FAFSA and completing scholarship updates and renewal applications. This also includes submitting any required documents and completion of surveys from Achieve Atlanta, as well as updating your contact information if it is to change. Side note, please do this for Albany State as well, and I will get to the importance of this in a moment. You will also be required to be in maintenance of good academic standing, satisfactory academic progress, which is the ratio of earned hours opposed to attempted hours. There are all types of tools available to assist you with this, or GPA calculations that I am more than happy to share with scholars. This goes back to the importance of maintaining relationships with your ASU campus support team, as well as your Beyond 12 coaches or other supports in place to assist you with your post-secondary degree completion. One important side note as well I have is to check your Albany State University email address as regularly as possible, as this will be the premier way university officials will communicate with you as ASU students and the means by which you receive important updates regarding additional requirements needed from you for ASU, unless you meet with your campus support team and become aware firsthand. Now, I really hope that you are starting to notice a theme here regarding a need for you to interact regularly with your advisors, Beyond 12 coaches, instructors, mentors, as well as peer tutors. Of course, if you do not have a roadmap or GPS, how would you even know how to drive to New York or even South Georgia and Albany State if you've never been? Much like a roadmap or GPS, as your support team for you as an Achieve Atlanta scholar, we are here to assist and guide you along the way to ensure timely and successful completion of your post-secondary degree. And since I have you all here right now, adherence to additional requirements established by Albany State begins with you taking note of our timeline leading up to fall semester and important key dates. Okay, so of course, beginning in May, you'll see that, of course, if you're starting summer school, your fees were due for May the 15th. And the first fall orientation, well, the summer orientation was May the 19th online, which was yesterday. And the first day of classes for the summer is May the 26th. Just a few other dates here on that. If you are attending summer classes, the last day to adjust your schedule will be May the 28th, and the midpoint, which is the last day to withdraw without academic penalty, is July the 2nd. And for our next key dates, we will advance to the next slide. Now, as I was saying before, of course, if you attend summer school, you have a few dates to remember for May and June if you're taking classes during the summer. But if you're starting out in fall of 2020, you would need to take note of June the 1st. This is an important date for two reasons. One being that's the FAFSA deadline for the aid year of 2021. And it's also the housing application deadline as well. And if you have not already, please be sure to register for one of the fall new student orientations that will be held online, either the 19th of June, the 11th of July, or the 14th of August. And going into August, the first day of classes is the 17th, with also the 10th and the 17th. These dates are tentative. Given the COVID-19 crisis. The 10th is the move-in date for first-year students, and the 17th is the first day of courses. We are planning to be back on campus for the fall at this point. May we have the next slide, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And now on to campus supports and resources. And just as the picture depicts, college will be a journey for you once you get here, but it's going to be a fun journey. And it's going to go by really quickly. I still remember navigating through undergrad myself, and it just went by just like that. But we are here to assist you through these times and to make it enjoyable, but also just a great learning experience for you. And so we have support for financial resources. That's our Office of Financial Aid. And then also our Office of Institutional Advancement for scholarship opportunities. We have an area to assist you with transitioning to college. That'll be our first and second year learning experiences. Academic, we have tutoring, study tables that we mentioned earlier, and other academic support resources that we want you to fully utilize in the FYE 1101 class that you all will take. There will be some components in there that really encourage you to foster these relationships with professors and professional staff, so you feel comfortable going to them and asking for assistance when you need it. And then also advisement. This is going to be key as well for retention purposes, helping you navigate your different courses as you go from a freshman to a sophomore to a junior and on to a senior. And so we definitely want you to know these resources are here and feel comfortable with using these resources. The last one will be the Achieve Atlanta Scholar Support. We have Mr. Christopher Bailey here, who's your person on campus. And Christopher also mentioned to me that he's starting an ambassador program where you and some of your peers will be able to reach back and help other Achieve Atlanta scholars navigate through campus here at Albany State University. Next slide, please. And here are some other key resources for you all if you want to take a picture of this slide for your own records. But here we have our student accounts, contact info, our director for financial aid. For those of you that may be interested in doing work study is when you can land a job on campus and receive federal funds to help pay for college or to use for other expenses that come up as a general college student. We have our director of housing. Her information is here. Our campus life, dean of students, health services, and counseling and disability services. And again, these are all great resources that you all will be able to use to assist you as you navigate through the college experience. And other resources include academic advising. I know we mentioned that earlier. There's the contact information for that. Tutoring, student success services, campus support, and then also Ms. Matthews, who will be this year's Achieve Atlanta ambassador.
Thank you, Corey. And we would like to share with you all this success saying, ATL. The A in this stands for advocate for yourself, which focuses on persistence and you know, a general focus on yourself. As far as, let's say, for instance, you're not receiving a response from your professor for a particular course after calling them, try sending the email, try going there in person. You have to be persistent and advocate for yourself in order to reach the level of success that you would like to be at. This is important because no one else will if you do not. You have to show that determination and perseverance. The next is T, of course, touch base with campus resources. And this is going full circle back to what I was saying originally about forming those relationships with your campus support team, your faculty members, your advisors, your instructors, pretty much anyone that will be instrumental in your success at Albany State University. And now the final L, learn into experience. This speaks towards experiential learning and those co-curricular opportunities that are afforded to you with joining different organizations, going out for different positions such as the Achieve Atlanta Ambassador position, for instance, or just being involved on campus, for instance. Of course, it's great to have a 4.0 GPA, but I can tell you this, that any job will want to see that you were highly involved on your campus with the 2.0 GPA. Any job would rather see that you were able to make a difference, of course, but we still want you guys to, you know, earn that perfect 4.0. But of course, long story short, it's not always who you know. It's not always what you know, it's who you know. So just take that in consideration, ATL. And now you are capable of amazing things. Remember that. I can just go off of my own experience, as most people, that's all they can do is go off of that personal recall, in the sense that as an undergrad student, you know, it was tough. It was tough. It was times when I did not think that I would be able to make it past that. I would, you know, be able to realize my dreams and goals of actually sitting there in front of you today and actually assisting with your matriculation to a college degree. You know, that was something that was far-fetched to me when I was an undergrad student. I would not have when I thought that I would be here today. And that's the thing. You have to, it starts with really believing in yourself and realizing that you're capable of amazing things. You're capable of doing whatever, you know, you set your mind to. And now we'll open the floor to questions.
All right. So as I said in the beginning, you can enter your questions into the Q&A function. But while we wait for students to enter their questions, I have a couple. My first question for you all is, what is one piece of advice that you have for incoming students?
One piece of advice I would have for incoming students is to most definitely take a career assessment. A lot of times we go into college and we are more pressed to take up a major or a program of study that that somebody else wanted us to take up. In this case, that's not your interest. That's not what you would like to do. So it would be a great idea. There's something called a Cooter Journey, a career assessment that's offered by Career Services at Albany State University. And and most of the times in the FYE classes that Corey mentioned earlier, Mr. Morgan mentioned earlier, this would be an assignment for students to complete in this course. And so it would be a great idea for each and every one of you to actually take a career assessment just to see where you're at and make sure that you're in the right major.
Gotcha. My advice, it was a great question as well. Well, for students, just to begin being self-aware on just communicating with, yourself, your peers, your parents, because that's going to be great to know once you get to college and you have to begin communicating with your professors and with other key faculty and staff members across campus. One thing that, I run into often is students not really navigating, using their emails correctly, knowing how to, send professional emails back and forth to faculty and staff, because we only, send our communication via email through our ASU channels. And then we still run into students who still use their personal emails, or just they aren't checking emails in general, and they're missing key information. Specifically with scholarships, we have institutional scholarships that we send out a blast to every semester. And I know the foundation director who's over it says that, there's money out there that's being missed because students are simply not checking and responding to emails.
That's super helpful. Thank you both for your responses. And the next question I have is, you mentioned something about 3 different campuses. And so I wondered if you could talk about how students will know which campus they will be on. Will they be going to different campuses? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So students will know what campus they reside on once they receive their housing assignment. So currently on our Albany campus, students can stay on both our East and West campus. So here in Albany, we function off of 2 campuses. So that'll be the first indicator. It's just looking at where your housing assignment is. And then class spaces are offered on both campuses as well too. And that's when we go to the advising side. And this is also understanding the student schedule. And that's why it's important to really communicate and develop a relationship with your student success coach, so you can get a full understanding of what that schedule looks like. What times will I need to be on this campus? What times do I have to be on the other campus? And as far as transportation between the 2 campuses, first, students or new freshmen are allowed to bring cars to campus their first year, which is exciting to know. And it's only $15 a year for parking. We got all this land out here in Southwest Georgia, so we don't have to charge as much for parking. But then 2, we do understand that not all students have modes of transportation. And so we do have a partnership with the city of Albany, and we have a few buses that we use as a university, and it's called our Ram Rush Transportation. And so there's an app that students can download. They'll know where the bus is in its route and where it's picking up between the two campuses. And so a part of new student orientation and the week of welcome, there are sessions where we do give information on that Ramrush transportation service. So students can get a more in-depth understanding of how that system runs. And then it's trial and error too. The students will get out. They'll probably miss a few buses, the first go around, but then they'll get it right and be moving back and forth between the two campuses.
All right, thank you so much for your response to that question. The next question is for you, Mr. Bailey. How specifically does your office help students, particularly incoming students?
Particularly incoming students? Well, of course, as coming from the role of academic success coach, I've been versed on many different programs of study offered at Albany State, as well as familiar with the plans of study that a student would be taking up upon their entrance at Albany. And this would include, of course, setting up their degree plans, making sure they're taking the correct prerequisite courses to enter into, whether it's a career program, a bachelor's program, because of course we do have that 2-year access pathway as well, in which you're able to obtain an associate's degree. And one thing I get a lot of times is that students would be like, I didn't want to obtain my associate's degree, I wanted to get my bachelor's. Well, the thing is with that is that you would be able to obtain your associate's degree, which it would be the first half of your bachelor's. Let's say you're doing biology, associates in biological sciences, you will still be able to go on and continue to get your bachelor's in biological sciences without missing a heartbeat. So that's one thing. That's one way in which my office does support incoming freshmen. Of course, I work with the population of dual enrollment students as well. These are students that are really on a exploratory type of track, where, of course, they're trying to fulfill high school requirements, but at the same time, they're looking towards those courses, those prerequisite courses that would be needed for them to start out on their pathway to get to medical school or go to Georgia Tech, Kennesaw, engineering, those types of degree programs. And of course, if any of you guys, I believe that, there is probably a large amount of you that might be interested in engineering and whatnot. There are, there's miniature programs here at Albany State for that as well. So it's a plethora of ways that my office can support Achieve Atlanta scholars and incoming students.
Thank you so much. One final question that has come up is regarding changes in financial situations. So because of COVID, we know that students may have had a change in their financial situation and may need to update their information. What's the best way for a student to do that?
As far as their financial aid information, or I would have to defer to, in that case, I would have to defer to financial aid, unless Mr. Morgan had an answer to that.
Yeah, I was thinking along the same lines. I know immediately, I think to going back to your FAFSA application. And there may be some lines that need to be updated on the FAFSA application itself. But as far as direct guidance for that, I would again defer to our financial aid office. Students are assigned to a specific counselor as well based on their last name. And me and Chris can help get you that information. But you'll want to speak to those counselors directly if they've had some changes, financial statuses, and I'm sure it's a simple fix, just to log back in and update that information.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you both so much for all your responses to the questions. Do you have any final thoughts before we log off for the evening?
Again, we just want to thank you all for tuning in and speaking with us this evening. And it was a pleasure hearing from you all and answering all of these questions.
Yes, I concur. It was a pleasure to speak with you all, and we look forward to see you guys in the fall when we return to campus.
Mr. Morgan, Mr. Bailey, thank you so much for your time today and your presentation. And participants, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Yes, thanks for all the great information. I know they did a great job. We look forward to working with you this summer and into the fall. Thanks again for making time. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.